This old ambulance is fixing to become a well house because I've got to build a massive RO system and put in pumps and all that kind of stuff, and I need something to really protect it. This is full of rat crap. See what the rats did? They just ate through that, which is, I don't know, plastic or something. The idea is to take this and gut it, which I'm fixing to start doing, get all the extra stuff that didn't need to be in here out, and that way I can lighten it up a little bit, and that'll allow me to put in a water tank, pumps, pressure tanks, RO, plus a giant filter for pesticides, because our water is it's got some issues. So yeah, we're gonna do that, fix it, and then I'll concrete all the way around it, and that'll keep it from being intruded by the rat population, which is what's going on. After 3 days through the interior, had to gut it because it was full of rat poop, and I really didn't want to have that in here since this is going to be our well house. So I'm fixing to move this and start washing it. Yeah, what's crazy is I got this thing light enough that my little tractor will pick it up, but it's the forklift didn't want to start. So we got it moved over here. Got the pressure washer going. I got Azer Blazer fixing to clean everything out of here. That way I can pressure wash it. And Ryan's over here prepping our pipeline. Ellie, come here and look at this bug. Look at this bug right here. Look at it. You see? Look. Get it. Look. Look at this bug. See? What's it doing, huh? What's it doing? Look at it. Look. Alright, here comes the fun part. Finally figured out how everything's ran here. Our shutoffs that are here actually go to everything but the house, so there's not really a shutoff here for the house, which I was kind of surprised, but that's okay. I'm going to put one in. And then this thing was so disgusting. This is what come out of it. I've never done anything to this except repair it, and it was disgusting for sure. This is almost as bad as that as the ambulance. Fortunately, they had enough sense to stub the well out far enough that if you have a problem with the well, you can still pull it even if you have a well house. Okay, this is what we've done. We have our big tank in here, and we have our well tank, our primary well tank, and we're filling it now. It took the whole day to get this thing moved and put in place, and now this is our first run after replumbing it. I don't expect to have any problems, but you never know. Okay, so day, what? I don't even know. Days are running together. Yesterday, I felt awful after the day before. I've spent about 12 hours out in the sun and in the heat, and so the only thing I got done yesterday is I had some leaks, and it's the darndest thing because I've been doing this stuff for a really long time. You know, I've done a lot of home construction. I've never had glued something and it just leaked immediately after I glued it, and I glued the crap out of this stuff. Yeah, look at the size of this wolf spider. Big. There's my hand. Wow, this is something my brother would love. Well, I got the electrical semi put in, I've got a couple of little things to tie up, but that's where the main panel is going to be. And I have a plug over here and a plug there to run all the backwashing and valves. Yesterday I managed to get RO working, which I will show you in a minute. Had a few leaks, but nothing too major. And the crazy thing is I cut this hose, this high pressure hose. So I did manage to get the end on there, and then I used these. I rigged it up with those nuts on there so it would hold it, and it seems to be working, because I mean, I'm not completely stopping it up. It's only pushing about 150 to 200 psi, and this thing is producing exactly what it's designed for, which is 20 gallons an hour or 0.33 gallons a minute. Anyway, so I've got a pump from this big tank through the pump, and then I've got to get that big tank cleaned out and use that as a secondary pressure tank for the house. And then it's got to go through this big carbon filter for all the pesticides. I still have to run a drain line for the RO, and I still have to run a drain line for this flush. This flush is for sand. We do have a lot of sand here, and then I've got to run a drain line for this. So that's your update. Yeah, it's kind of loud in here, but basically I'm on day 6, and I've gotten the pump plumbed in and plumbed this secondary tank. I've got this plumbed, but before I can connect it down here, I've got to clean this out. This thing's been sitting on the north side over there in this old house for a long time. I think these are exactly, we bought at the same time, but this hasn't been used, so it's got a bunch of dirt dog mess and crap in it. I cleaned out what I could, but it needs to be really rinsed. I built a float. It's just PVC, and then I've got this it's just a little connector. I modified it. It actually is upside down on there, but this will screw into the top, and then it'll have a slider, and that'll protect pretty good the water inside there. So when I get done, it'll be plumbed. There'll be just a little vent here through here, but it won't really let much of anything in. So kind of happy that I got that done and worked out. So I've got to mount this on-off switch, which is going to automate the pump, and a valve that goes where that valve is, because that feeds the system, and that way whenever the float hits the level, it'll turn all that off and turn it back on automatically. Okay, this is day 7, I think. Anyway, been a long week. As a kid, I remember growing up playing with all kinds of bugs or whatnot, and never in my life until I came out here ever seen a jumbo grasshopper. There he is. Look at the size of that thing. Ooh, check out what we got. It's coming after me. It's trying to get me. Let's see if it'll climb over. Uh-oh. Yeah, he's figuring out something's going on. Huh. So what's happening, huh? What's happening? He's getting mad. That's with me. Look at him. Ooh-wee. All of a sudden winter came upon us, and we had to underpin this thing so it would not freeze. I don't think it would have frozen, but I didn't want to risk it, so we covered up everything, getting it ready anyway to concrete it. We had a problem with that pump that I was using. So we went to Horrible Freight, and this little pump, I'm going to tell you something. This is a good little pump. Really impressed with it, especially for the price, and they're readily available. So basically, this is the one or two things that turned out to be pretty darn good for the money. I had to replace these tanks. These tanks that were in here, they were quite a bit bigger, but they didn't work. They wouldn't hold pressure. You could pressure them up, and they'd only last for a little bit. So those tanks were bad. So yeah, it cost me quite a bit to get 2 tanks, but man, it's been worth it because these tanks work so much better. So everything's automated. It all works quite well. The only issues I'm having, this valve here that I put in needs to be moved to the other side of the filter system because it gets clogged up with real fine sediment and doesn't want to function. And so you can tell in this line right here that how dark that is. That sediment is coming in and stopping that valve up. And it also, we run through these sediment filters pretty quick, once every month and a half or 2 months. Other than that, I added this, and that's a switch. It's protection. So if this part of the system runs out of water, then that will protect the pump, which is good because it only ran out one time and it overheated, and I was waiting on the part to come in, and when it overheated, I thought that was it, but that pump actually survived it. It's got a thermal shutoff on the inside. I did add a second membrane, and that second membrane brought us up to roughly 40 gallons an hour, which is more than enough. Actually, 20 gallons would have probably been fine, but we cut it close a couple of times, mainly because I'd have somebody would leave something on or whatever, and the recovery time, I just wanted to speed it up. So I'm getting about 40 gallons an hour right now, and it works quite well. And actually have another shutoff, the one I was showing you that I built with a float, turns it on and off, but I built another one that has a float, and you can see it mounted up there. Let me see if I can zoom in. You can see it mounted right there. That one actually, that's a protection for the pump that runs the house. So if this tank drops below, like this level down here, then it will not allow that pump in the corner to run. It'll turn it off, and it does stay off. So if that ever gets shut off, I will know, because the water gets turned off and I have to manually reset it. And I kind of did that on purpose because I didn't want to not know that this was out of water. If you have any questions about it, just comment below. I'll be happy to answer them.